Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we have Arjun here with us who recently got into Atlassian as an SDE1 and he is here to share his experience with us. Let's get started. Hi Arjun, firstly welcome to my channel and congratulations. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Jishnu.
yeah,
Happy
thank
to.
you so much for accepting to share your experience.
My pleasure.
So I'll open it up to you. You can first introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Arjun Manod. I belong to Rudrapur, Uttarakhand, and I have done my BTech in Computer Science Engineering from VIT Vellore, and then I joined Morgan Stanley as a Spring Analyst, and I got my full-time offer from them from 2022, and then I was with them till 2024 February, after which I switched to Atlassian as an SD1. So, and as part of my introduction, I think my hobbies are playing sports. I love badminton. I like table tennis. I'm all about games. Uh, yeah, that's brief about me.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. You can tell us now how you got an offer from Atlassian. How did you apply? Beginning from there.
So I don't have a very specific memory of how I applied to Atlassian. It was I was scrolling LinkedIn one random day, and I came across an opening, and then there's this easy apply button on LinkedIn that
Right.
you just click. You don't even
Okay.
have to attach a resume.
Mhm.
So I clicked on that. I think a month later, around Diwali, just like 20 days before Diwali, I got a call from a recruiter saying that we have this position opening open, and we see that you applied. Do you want to sit for interviews?
Right.
So I said, yeah, sure, I'll be more than happy to do that. So then she asked me like when should we schedule the interviews, or like when is it comfortable for you? So I asked them for like a 10-day gap so that I could do some preparation. Of course, DSA.
Yeah.
I had to refresh. I had to do a refresher on DSA. So I asked for like 10 days gap, and
Okay.
then they were very comfortable in scheduling this. In fact, they sent me a link to schedule my own interview at my
Okay.
own time, my own date, because the first interview was from a third party company called Carrot.
Okay.
So they gave me a link on when do I want to schedule my interview. So I think then on the first interview with Carrot, it was a basic system design plus data structure interview.
Okay.
It was a 1 hour interview, and I think so. They've when I say system design, they don't literally ask you to design a system or something. They want to test your core concepts. How much do you know about it? I mean, if you could do a good refresher on system design concepts, like you should know the CAP theorem, some very basics. I think you'd be good. And they are like very quick 5 rapid fire questions that they ask on system design. And after that, they ask you one data structures questions, and I would say the complexity was like easy to medium.
Okay.
Not yeah, it wasn't very complex. Majorly focused on strings, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So that was the Carrot interview. So after the Carrot interview, I got a call that because that was screener round. I got a call that I'll be now moving to the next round, which was like a basic data structure interview.
Okay.
So that happened the next day itself. In the data structure round again, the interviewer asked me just one question, and he asked me variations of that. So basically, he just extended the question.
Okay.
The data structure question. If I had to talk about complexity, it was kind of a medium level question. You don't really need to have very extensive knowledge about core data structures. It is fine if you have some basic knowledge, and if you are comfortable with the approach. You can go ahead and tell them the approach first, and then start coding.
Okay.
They are obviously not looking at 100% accurate solution when I talk about data structures, but they all obviously want to know your approach.
Right.
So if you put that out clearly, and if you code some good some good basics, I think you'll be good.
Okay.
After that, so like I was able to do the first iteration of the question in like 10-15 minutes. Then he extended the question saying, okay, now if I want to do this, how will I do that? So it was a slight variation. You just need to change some parts in the code, and you can crack it.
Right.
So, and then again, the third iteration was like that. Probably we did not have much time to discuss that, to implement that. So we just discussed that approach.
Okay.
So that was about my first data structures, first round as the data structures one. Then the second one was lower level design. I remember LLD, and the question complexity, if you're uh, preparing very specifically for Atlassian, you will know the kind of questions that they usually ask in LLD rounds,
Okay.
and
Okay.
you'll be able to prepare for them very easily.
Hmm.
If you've cracked through the carrot and the data structures round, I don't think you will face any trouble with the low level design round. You just need to make sure that you know the basics right.
Hmm.
You don't you know classes, objects, etc. You know
Okay.
your you know what you're talking.
Hmm.
So that was a low level design round, and there were no variations as such. The question did not extend as such. It was just one question. Talk about it completely. Talk as much as you can.
Right.
For the first 10-15 minutes, just talk about what do you think, how will you do it,
Okay.
and then just implement your approach.
Okay.
So that was my low level design round. Then the next one was system design round.
Mm-hmm.
System design round, again, not a very complex problem. You can come across such problems very regularly when you're preparing for software engineering interviews.
Okay.
So it wasn't a very complex problem. You can if you know databases, if you know API calls. So what the interviewer asked me was to first tell me how would the database structure look like, what would be the table, what would be the scheme, what all will you store. Then he asked me to write down how will the APIs look like.
Okay.
APIs means he did not ask me to implement any of them. He just wanted to know that what would the APIs consist of, how to paths. So like a basic structure and database that, and I think a very few questions about scalability, not
Okay.
a very in-depth discussion about scalability, but very few questions. And it is always helpful if you ask questions about what is the interviewer expecting in that point of time.
Right. Okay.
You need to know that for example, you could write down something and then you might want to confirm that are the same page about it, and then the interviewer they're always helpful in getting letting you know.
Okay.
So that helps. So again, so that was a system design round, and after system design round, there was a manager connect kind of round, which was again not very technical. It wasn't technical at all.
Okay.
It was about if you are a right fit for the company. I don't remember the exact name of the round, but it was taken by an engineering manager, a manager. So the questions were very much about the Atlassian principles and coming across problems as a developer in corporate. So those questions are very. The thoughts, whatever are your intrusive thoughts, you can just go ahead and answer them. There isn't something that you have to think a lot about or prepare a lot about. But yeah, of course, if you are giving interviews, you will obviously read about some HR round questions.
Right.
You will prepare. So I think you should be you'd be good if you're preparing for that.
Okay.
But that was my Atlassian principle round, and then there was next round again based on it was again some human resources, some HR connect kind of around, nothing technical in there.
Okay.
Just to see that if you're the right fit for the company. Again, you need to read about principles, Atlassian's principles,
Right.
and the interviewer constantly in both the rounds, in the last two HR related rounds, in both the rounds, the interviewers kept on telling me that they'll be looking for points, data points on what you talk about.
Okay.
So, for example, if there are 5 principles, looking for points that can mark that you are following the principle, or you have a relatability towards the principle.
Right.
So I think very much it is very much helpful if you could read the principles beforehand, and then also come up with incidents that you faced or you plan to implement. So that actually helped me. So I was able to give them enough data points with respect to that. So and it's like, because it is very transparent, the interviewer will always tell you that if they've been able to gather points related to that or not. For example, in one of those, he asked me very clearly that I did not get what you were saying. Can you repeat that, or do you want to quote any other incident?
Okay.
So they're very transparent with respect to that. Nothing to be nervous about, because and nothing to cook up stories about. So if you have it in your head, you can just tell it. If you don't, maybe just be honest about it.
Right.
So yeah, those were the 2 managerial rounds, if I may say.
Okay.
And yeah, I think those were the six rounds that I had.
Okay, that's great. That sounds like a long process.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Congrats again, and thank you for sharing your experience.
Thanks,
So,
Jishnu.
yeah, one last thing that I would like to ask is, do you have any resources that you'd like to share, or anything that you prepared from in the last few days before the interview?
So, I did not. So, one thing that I usually do is I do not go to any new resources when I'm preparing. I
Okay.
usually just refresh the things that I've learned before.
Right.
I still remember while I was in my last year, I was preparing with there's a course in Geek for Geeks itself. It's called interview preparation course or something,
Okay.
and it's a self-paced course. It's an online course. You don't need to, and it did not even cost very much. I think it was just 350 rupees
Okay.
at that time, and I bought that course. And all I did was I went through all those videos
Okay.
like topic wise, and
Right.
one good thing that I used to do is to write those down in my notebook, and
Mm-hmm.
then any variations that I see, I would just write them down. So I have that one data structure notebook that I have for myself. I use that for sitting for my placements back then in my college days, and then now when I sat
Okay.
for a team.
Okay.
My focus was majorly on again the DSA refresher about system design. If you go to YouTube and you just search, system design basic concepts, just look at any playlist that has like 10 to 12 videos about system design, the
Right.
basics, and that will be enough.
Okay.
More than enough for preparing you for at least the carrot round or the system design round.
Mhm.
And then the third thing that I would recommend is uh, looking at past questions that Atlassian has asked before. That is always very helpful. They sometimes tell you a pattern that the company is looking at, and so you also ensure that you don't read things that not very much asked. For
Right.
example, dynamic programming or advanced level dynamic programming. This is not something you might want to read
Okay.
when a company is not asking that enough.
Right.
So I think it was, yeah. So I think these are the three things that I would recommend.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much again. And yeah, thank you for sharing.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Jishnu.
Thank you all for watching. If you found this video helpful, please do like, share, and subscribe. And thank you.